Hey, welcome World Entertainment, and the Odyssey has opened to fantastic numbers. Now, people are painting it as it's an absolute smash hit already. Not really. You know, when you're saying a smash hit, it really comes down to, is it making money yet? It's not making money yet. It's not even close to making money yet. It probably will. Now, this is one of these movies that, what I've been saying, it's probably going to make all the money, but fans and people will probably be going, this is a disaster. Now, the reactions to it are kind of, it's all over the place. It really is all over the place. I didn't enjoy the movie. I thought it was boring as hell. The majority of reviews I've seen say the same thing. They really don't like it. However, it's interesting to take a look at the likes of Rotten Tomatoes and stuff, because look, Rotten Tomatoes is trash fire. It really is. Like, it's the most manipulated algorithm that's out there. You know, they changed how things work to boost the interest and numbers for Captain America, and not Captain America, Captain Marvel, and stuff like that. And I find it hilarious how the contradiction comes in from people that when a movie like, say, Supergirl comes out, and the audience reaction is terrible to it, and they look at the Rotten Tomatoes score, and it gets called out, oh, it's been review bombed. They're just hating it for the sake of hating it. They're not even writing proper reviews. But then something like the Odyssey comes out, where the audience score is damn near perfect, and they say, look how people love this movie. They're owning the chuds and all this crap. And yet they're the exact same type of reviews where they're not even reviews, they're statements. You'll see what I mean. We're going to have a look at it. I just think, is the Odyssey getting fake hype? That's the biggest question. Now, as you can see, the numbers. Now, these haven't been adjusted yet. They'll get adjusted later today. So, this one may not change. This one will probably change. It may go up. It may go down. They usually go down. The question is, does it go down by much? Probably not. But overall, an opening weekend worldwide of $264 million. That's a great start. But we said this will happen, that it will have this massive opening. Now, the way you also have to look at this with the Odyssey is quite important. IMAX. Now, IMAX for this movie, it's going to be in IMAX, I believe, for a month. So it's 4 weeks on IMAX. IMAX are the ones that are sold out all the time for this movie. The way you have to look at it, though, is IMAX may have less people in the screen, you know, because they might be a bit smaller in seating and stuff. But the tickets are double the price of a standard ticket for a standard movie-going theatre. That is where you also see manipulation coming in. With these massive numbers here, it's like, but the majority of that is from the IMAX tickets. Now, this is where inflation is important when we look at something like Superman versus Man of Steel, where you adjust for the inflation for Man of Steel from 2013, because in 2013 the prices were a hell of a lot lower than they are today. So when you're adjusting it, you're adjusting the ticket price to what it would be today, which is why the number goes up. What that means is more people actually went to see Man of Steel than went to see today's Superman, because they're paying more for a ticket today. So the number that you got for Superman today is less people than what it was in 2013 for Man of Steel. So this is the kind of manipulation you're seeing here as well with the IMAX numbers, because the IMAX is, of course, the higher ticket price. So a lot of these numbers are coming in from the IMAX theaters. So it's worth keeping that in mind. But overall, when we're looking at these numbers, like 124.5 million domestically and 139.5 million internationally, so already you can see how the international number is ahead of that. But again, this will probably go down, probably not by much, I think it'll drop to probably 38 point, I don't know, 2 or 3. So it's interesting now. It's the way the numbers have started doing all this crap is weird. It's a bit awkward to find it all, but here you can see. So the Thursday previews brought in 17.6 million. So the 51.1, that includes that Thursday preview, and then they start going down a bit. The big question now is, does this movie have legs? Does it actually capture the general audience and just keep going like a juggernaut? Now again, the IMAX screenings seem to still be pretty much sold out. But this weekend, you can't take away that this was all the Nolan stands, basically. The die-hard Nolan fans rushed out to see this. So this isn't your general audience have come out to see this. This right now is the Nolan hardcore fans who are defending this thing to the death, and good for you, I suppose. But then we also have to look at this. So here we have the Rotten Tomatoes scores. And as you can see, you have a 95% from critics and a 97% from the fans. Of course, when you click into these, top critics it goes up to 97, but all critics is 95. Verified audience is 97. All audience it goes down to 93. But it's what these comments actually say, which is where you go, is this just being positive review bombed? You'd have to say yes in a lot of the cases. Because look at these. These are 5 stars and 4 stars, and they're a sentence. So like the first one, so amazing and it doesn't feel like a 3-hour movie. Watching a premium theater. 4.5 stars. It's not exactly a review, that's a statement. When the best movie I've ever watched. Again, that's not a review, and that's a 5 star. That's a statement. Wow, Oscar for Best Picture goes to 4 stars. Not a review. 10 out of 10 absolute cinema. What an epic telling, a triumph of a movie. Sounds like somebody picked up some of the old critic words here and went with triumph. Hands down the best movie to come out in the last 5 to 10 years. Again, not a review. Now, this looks more like a review, but 5 stars. I've been waiting for decades for a film to be made in the modern era about the Odyssey. Why would you be waiting for a movie to be made for the modern era of the Odyssey? Finally, the great Christopher Nolan is the one that brings this masterpiece to the big screen, and a typical fashion or into he brings the whole thing, delivers the goodies and blah blah blah. This is more of an actual review, but like all of these, they're not reviews, they're statements, and you can see how much loved it. Definitely will see it again. Like, that is the most botted review you can get. Perfect pacing for an almost 3-hour movie. It is in its whole. Everything I wanted it to be and more. Excellent movie. Music and action scenes were top notch. Wish it was longer. Like, come on. I'm a movie goer and this movie is easy in my top 20. Of course it is. This movie is epic. Like, these are all 5 stars. Great movie, more than 5 stars. Now, I'm glad that one's there. I cannot find the one that I was looking for. I should have screen grabbed it the other day. I didn't though. What a mistake that was. There's a review somewhere in this, in the fan side, that said, wow, I wish I could give this 12 stars. Or even 15. Hell, give it 20 stars. An absolute excellent, amazing movie. That was the review. Now, that review said they wished you could give it 12. No, 15? No. 20 stars. It gave it 3.5. So it didn't even give them 5 stars, but wrote their review as, I want to give this movie 20 stars. But you only gave it 3.5 stars. Doesn't really add up, does it? Doesn't quite make sense. But again, look, if people are enjoying this movie, cool. But the reality right now at the moment is the people who are watching it right now throughout this weekend were the die-hard Nolan fans who are going to defend this thing to the death. It's from this week onwards in normal theaters, because again the IMAX seems to still be pretty much booked out, is where you're going to really see what the take is from a casual movie going audience. Because I put a poll up the other day and the consensus was people were not interested in going to see this movie. That was the winner in the poll so far, was not interested. So how are we all seeing and being told nobody's interested? When I was doing covers on the controversies and stuff, people were putting in the comment section saying, I've lost all interest in this movie. The casting, all this stuff, the more I see of it, I'm not going to see it. And yet, all of this crap all here, that's not review. That is positive review bombing. That's what that is right there. That is positive review bombing. So you can see one line and they're giving it 4 and 5 stars and stuff, and yet all the critics and all the shills and stuff are running out there going, see, look how people love this movie. And yet when you get a movie, whether it's a Star Wars movie, whether it's a Marvel movie, whatever it is, and somebody gives it 1 star but writes out what their issues were with the movie, that is considered review bombing. But this is considered fans. Yeah, work it out. However, the movie, it's off to a really strong start. Now, it does need to make $750 million to break even. And this is where the big question comes in. Can it actually do it? Will it actually make $750 million? Universal want $1 billion. That's their main goal. That is why they've been pushing this. That's why all the actors are out there saying everything they're saying, blah, blah, blah. They want and expect $1 billion from this. But now that fans are starting to see it, now that the actual reactions are starting to happen regarding this movie, the question is, what happens with the drop-off? Not this weekend, but the following weekend, Spider-Man Brand New Day comes out, which is going to absolutely trance all over this. The irony being half the cast of this are the cast of that. But what will the drop-off be from this weekend to this coming weekend? Does this thing have legs? And where does it tap out? Does it hit $1 billion? Does it hit just under 700 million? Does it just hit over the 750? Does it end its run at about 800? Time will tell. It really has become an awkward one to understand. We were all pretty much looking at it saying, this thing's going to make about 900 million. But now it's kind of like, I don't know. It really is. I don't know. But we'll have to wait and see. So, we really are just going to have to wait and see what actually happens. And of course, all the people are out there defending it to the death and saying it's already a smash hit. You've probably seen that. The likes of Angry Joe and stuff out there saying, this is already a smash hit. It's already owned the chuds. It's not a smash hit yet. Great numbers to start with, but it's not a smash hit. Not at all. It's not made money yet. It's not even close to making money yet. Question is, will it? We'll have to wait and see. But what do you guys think? Have you seen it? What did you think of it? If you haven't seen it, have you lost any interest? Do you plan to see it? And do you think this thing will hit maybe $1 billion, or at least that 750? Let me know. And with that, we shall leave it there for this one. So do like and share and subscribe and all of that good stuff. Cheers, and I'll catch you in the next one.